Ruiz Evans. I am an officially published author. The title of this class is going to be, well, right now it's listed as How to Become Self-Published. The actual full title of this is How to Self-Publish Your Way to Becoming Officially Published. If you type my name in, Marcus Ruiz Evans, comma, Cinema Circus. This is a entertainment production blog. But if you type my name in, Cinema Circus, I have a blog that goes over all of this material. So if there's any references or citations or quotes or facts or data that you want to go into, just go to there. There's a little copy. I'll pass this around so you can get a look at what it looks like. There you go. It's about 11 pages, exceptionally thorough, I've been told. Covers the whole gamut. So we got from 11:20 to I think 12:10, 12:15. All right, from 11:20 to 11:40, I'm going to talk about the self-publishing industry, how you do that. From 11:40 to 12, I'm going to talk about the actual book. And then we'll wrap up with any questions so you can see both how I did it and then what exactly I did. That'll allow you to have a more well-rounded opinion. I'll turn it over to questions. By the way, if anybody wants to email me afterwards, it's marcus.rees.evans@gmail. Real simple, just my name, period, at Gmail. Okay, so, how many of you have published? Okay, 1, 2, 3, okay, how many of you have self-published? Oh, okay, all right, very good. So, just to jump right into it, right now you are in the midst of a epoch flux in the way that books are happening. I'm not exaggerating. There's been some articles. I think one of them is Wall Street Journal or New York Times. Because of the internet and because of the ubiquitousness of this and everybody getting online, it has created essentially a new platform for publishing that's changing the way traditional publishing is going. Some people are saying that this is as big a communication revolution as the Gutenberg printing press in 1440. No, I'm not making that up. That's either New York Times or Wall Street Journal. So it's a flux period. That's good and bad. It's bad because nobody knows exactly where it's going to go. Even the industry experts. In fact, there's a citation in here from a C-SPAN conference from a variety of industry experts where they're running, is this self-publishing thing a fad? Is it going to go away? Do we industry experts not really need to worry about it and we'll just hold on to our old traditional form of publishing and wait for this to pass? Or is this the new plateau and it's going to be a mixture of self-publishing, internet publishing, and traditional publishing? Or is the internet going to take over everything and wipe out traditional publishing completely as you've ever known it? Honest truth, no one knows, and that includes the industry experts. So if any of them are going, you see anyone, that traditional pub, no, they don't know. They don't know. Nobody can see into the future. Nobody knows how far the internet's going to go. Nobody predicted the smartphone 5 years ago. So if anybody's going to tell you that they know exactly what the internet's going to do and how it's going to affect business, they're lying to you and themselves. So that's the bad part. Don't know. The good part is you can jump in. Whenever there's a shift in market, there's always an opening to people who see the new things. And what that means is a perfect story. So everybody knows the New York Times, right? Internet comes out, the New York Times says, oh, we're going to have our New York Times blog. It did horrible for 5 years. Drudge Report, these little blogs made by a mom and pop, some college kid or a teenager is doing a better news site and getting more traffic than the New York Times blog. Why? Because the New York Times was full of people who were used to publishing and writing newspapers the way it had been for decades. Oh, we'll just put something up on the internet and that's fine. No, that's not how you get on the internet. These children who grew up with the internet knew that. And so they're having news websites that are blowing away the New York Times, because they don't get it. 5 years later, the New York Times says, maybe we should hire somebody from outside the New York Times, maybe somebody in their 30s. Within 1 year, their traffic's back up to being #1 on the internet. That's what I'm talking about. All of the experts said, no, we don't need that. We don't need to do that. They were destroying their business from people who know publishing because they didn't know the internet. They got somebody who did. That's your opening. That's your opening right now. Play off the internet. The internet is switching things up. Now maybe it's going to dominate, maybe it won't, maybe it'll be parlayed, who knows. The time to get it is now. There's a fire sale. This is the 1949 Gold Rush, California. Get it in, get what you got before it's gone. Because who knows what's going to be in the future. All of this is cited. There's 13 citations from various newspapers in the blog. Check it out. A couple of interesting facts. Self-publishing is now 30% of the market of books that are bought. So, anybody ever heard of David Mamet? He's a famous playwright, wrote a bunch of books. Yeah. Anybody ever heard of Jackie Collins? Sure. Sure. Those are famous published authors, right? Anybody want to say what's interesting and why I would mention those two names as it relates to this lecture right here?
Self-published?
That's it right there. They are well-established, officially published authors for decades. You said, you know what, industry, I don't need you. I'm going to self-publish. I got enough people who know me. I'm going to publish my own book, create space, do it, pump it out. It's going to say David Mamet. And guess what? I know that I have enough customers that are going to follow me. And Jackie Collins did it. That's terrifying to the book industry. Traditional authors leaving to go to the new form because they think it's better, easier, they get to keep more money, have a better relationship with their customer base? Uh-oh. Anybody ever heard of the book 50 Shades of Grey? They're going to make it into a movie. Anybody ever hear of that? It's famous, right? 50 Shades of Grey started off as self-published. Anybody know that? Sure. Yeah. 50 Shades of Grey was self-published, moved up to being officially published, and that's how you knew it. There was another movie, it was kind of a teenage romance, City of Bones, Fire, yeah, self-published book. It was originally on a blog for people who like to make stories about Harry Potter. Converted into a self-published book, converted into a published book, converted into major motion picture. David Mamet, Jackie Collins, City of Bones, 50 Shades of Grey, this is what you need to be thinking. Things are shifting. That wouldn't have happened 5 years ago, but that's happening now. Now, is that the way it's going to happen more in the future? I don't know. Nobody knows. Opportunities here. Self-publishing has grown 300% in just 5 years. So maybe it is going to plateau. Who knows? Nobody. It's at a high right now. It might go down, it might go up. So here's how you do it. If you want to get self-published and then parlay that into being officially published and go forward from that, I'm going to obviously use myself as an example, plus a variety of research, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, etc., blogs, Goodreads, etc., again, all on the blog, etc. service. First thing you need to do is write a really good book. I know that seems a little bit of a simplification, but you'll see in the blog, they talk a lot about how people who are self-published just go, oh, I'm just going to write something and I'm self-publishing, I think it's good. Slap cover on that and send it out. That's junk. You need to be as harsh on yourself for your self-published book as you would if you were sending it to an actual publisher, a big editor in New York City. Extremely harsh on yourself. In fact, I'll wait for that to come back around. There's a quote in there where it talks about a lot of self-published books that are coming out are just junk. They're not even good. When 50 Shades of Grey came out, that was good from day one. When that City of Bones came out, that was good from day one. Why? Because that author made sure it was as quality as an officially published book for their self-published book. That's step number one. There's a much better class on how to do a lot of the mechanics. Catherine Brandkamp just gave me a great thing. If you missed the class, ask her for this flyer. Take the survey, fill it out. This is awesome. Ask her for this thing. It was excellent. It's going to tell you kind of the style you should go for self-publishing. You have your idea. Next thing you do, hang out at coffee shops. What you're going to do is tell stories to complete total strangers you've never met in your life. And here's the test. You get 5 strangers in a row to listen to your story idea. Someone was rescued by a buffalo, and then space aliens came and She learned how to become a better person after she had a child. Oh, that's riveting. You got me every second of the way. You get 5 people in a row for your little story, that's your story. If you can't even keep 5 people you haven't met interested in a very general concept of your basic outline, scrap it and start over. You got to be able to captivate a total stranger with your book. And nobody's going to read a 350-page, 200-page, 100-page synopsis of your book. You get 2 sentences. So if you can't explain your concept in 2 sentences and it's not gravitating, start over, go back to square one. I'll point out that a lot of the greatest authors, you name it, they always talk about how, oh, I like to hang out at cafes. The Paris cafes, a lot of top American authors, early 1930s, late 1800s, always hanging out at the Paris cafes, the cafes in Seattle, the cafes in New York. You know why they're doing that? So they can run into total strangers. People go to coffee and they want to talk. I don't know, I got 5 minutes. Let me tell you a story. Did I keep your attention for 5 minutes? Maybe I'm on something. Did I keep the next person's attention for 5 minutes? And the next, and the next, and the next? That's your idea. That's how you tell. That's why all these great writers go to cafes. That's what you do. The moment you get 5 people in a row, start there. Next thing you do, write your book. And I was just talking to this gentleman here. I don't know your name. Henry. And what did I say? Americans are the most
critical. Yeah.
Yes.
Themselves.
Yeah. Americans compared to other countries, typically European countries, are more self-critical. So as we're writing out our notes, no, that's not good. That's not good. That's not good. The greatest writers keep about 30% of their work. They write this much. This is what your book should look like. Notes, 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 notes. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm just going. It's roughly on this one story. You never criticize yourself at all. This could go on for 2 years, 3 years. James Joyce basically changed the way that the English-speaking world thought about Irish people because he produced a novel called Ulysses that was so great that it finally made the British not look down on the Irish and begin to think, well, maybe they are as smart as us. He took 10 years to write that. Took his time. You can do that. Sylvester Stallone, action star, right? Won an Academy Award for the first Rocky movie. He wrote that script in 5 days. He wrote that. Sylvester Stallone, I know the silly action movie star, wrote an award-winning script in 5 days by himself. His later work hasn't been as good, but it's the same concept. 10 years, 5 days, who knows? You know who knows? You. Some people spit out a book. Some people it takes forever. There's no right answer. So if somebody goes, oh, you're still working on your book? Yeah, I got mine done. Who cares? They're not you. How many of you need to sleep 8 hours a day? How many of you need to sleep 5 hours a day? I can't look at you and tell you're a 5-hour person or an 8-hour person. So don't judge yourself either when you hear any other writers talk about how long it took. It's something in your brain and biology. You like to take time. It just occurs to you. Who knows? Go with it. Anyways, you're writing this out. After you're done, and this is where you're sick of your idea. You are so sick and tired of it. You don't even want to hear about it. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm tired of listening in. I'm sleeping and I'm like, going over the storylines and people like shaking you awake. Almost where you're neurotic, that's when you stop. You stop because I can't go anymore. Done. Now you start the editing process, and this is when you become critical, and not before ever, at all. Turn it off, don't do it, wasting your time doing it. I want this, I like that, I like this, I like that, I like this, and this, and this. And these are my book. I didn't know that until I finished my journey. And if I was here, man, I've been working on this book for 2 years. I should be done. Well, you just left out this gem and this one and this one. And this one came at the very end. But these 5 gems together look like a beautiful piece of jewelry. You had to wait to kick out those gemstones. You don't know when you're going to kick it out. Maybe it was 2 o'clock in the morning when you woke up. Maybe it was late at night when you were drunk and you can't even remember what you're doing, but you thought, you know what, the character needs to have a confrontation with their mother. And that's the breakthrough. You don't know when breakthroughs are going to happen, so be open to them. Go to different places. Talk to different people. So now that you have your book, this is your book, this is your baby, it's pretty good. You already tested it out, you know it's a good idea. The question is the writing good? This is when, and I suggest you talk to Catherine Brandkamp, you go pick out an editor. And here's the thing with an editor. You want an editor who's harsh. I mean harsh, mean. If you buy an editor and they give you back your manuscript with just a few changes, they failed you and they took your money and ran with it and you were robbed. You should be getting back a manuscript where it's just marked up and you're questioning if you should even be a writer anymore. That's a quality editing review. Anything less than that is junk. You wasted your money. Shop around for editors. Talk to people who say things like, you know, I don't get many customers because people are normally upset at me when I return their manuscripts. That's who you want to get. That's who you want. So I don't have many friends. I don't get many return customers. People are pissed off at me. Yep, you're the one I want to hire. Because they don't care if they're going to upset you. You want to pay someone to tell you what it is to fix this to make it look golden before you go out to the public and you go, I've got this great book and it's awesome. And people are like, page 5, there's 3 spelling errors. Page 7, he's talking about your mother, and then in the next sentence you're saying it's like my dad. I don't get it. They failed you. I hired 3 editors for my self-published book, still had spelling errors, had to apologize to the publishers I was talking to, let's fix it, and then finally on the 5th edit for the publishers, finally got that all worked out. I didn't mean to have spelling errors. I had been working on this for 7 years. I've been working on it for a year. You can't edit your own work. You can't. You are a horrible editor of your own work. You will do a horrible job editing your own work. Get somebody else, get them to be mean, take all their comments seriously, fix it. They're not trashing your idea. Remember, you already sold your idea. Your book is on fairy tale unicorns. It's still a book on fairy tale unicorns. They're just helping you get that idea out better. Listen to them, respect them, shop around, do what they say. Yes, please.
I would do this at the end.
Yeah, could we?
Yeah. Sorry, I'll write my, yeah.
Next step, so we just want to move right along. The next step, you got your book, it's well done, self-publish. I highly recommend CreateSpace. There's other companies you can go to. The reason I like CreateSpace is that Amazon is 80% of the online sales for books, period. CreateSpace automatically is designed to perfectly match the Amazon marketplace. So whatever you get in CreateSpace, it perfectly matches the #1 place your book's going to sell at. There aren't any bookstores now. They're all gone. There's a few holding on. People are going to buy your book on Amazon, most likely in the majority of your sales, whether that's print or e-reading. CreateSpace is pumped right into it. Now, Barnes & Noble has one, but Barnes & Noble's like 15% of the online sale market, so you pick. You don't have to go to them. There's other people who will help you. Be very careful on who you hire to help you get your book published. They're not going to do anything for you. They're going to say some fancy words, spend about 5 minutes, because you don't know what's going on. It's your first time. You're going to think it's awesome. And really what they did was they took $500 to $1,000 and really didn't do any favors. So any website, we help people get their book published. Do you want to be published? We may drink it. No. No. Click, move on. Go away from those people. They are salesmen. They are not actually here to help you. Shop around. You want a nice, boring-looking website that has examples of past authors that they helped publish. That's somebody who's actually interested in the business. References also look well. You can go on Facebook, YouTube, or type in Google, X company, comma, complaints, X company, comma, criticism, X company, comma, success stories. You should see something. If you don't see any traffic that looks good, that's a bad sign. If you don't see any traffic at all, that's also a bad sign because they just got started. They don't know what they're talking about. So now you finally get your book self-published. Now here's the big final step, and this is where that thing where we're in the age of transition comes in. This is your key to play like the big boys, even though you might be a total amateur. They don't know that. There's something called book shows, book events, book fairs, book clubs, days of the book. Go to those. Spend the $100, spend the $200 to get a table. You hang out there, you have your book out in front of your table, and you sell every single person who comes up like they are the CEO of Warner Brothers. Because one of them is. So Mikazuki Publishing is publishing my first book. Bay Publishing is publishing my second book. And I'm also working on a third book by Stag Hunt Enterprises. I met all of them at the book shows. They walk up, real casual. Yeah, you know what, yeah, that's cool, whatever. Oh, sir, my book's awesome. Could I tell you about it? Oh, really? Yeah, no, I don't really read. Well, it's this, and it's that, and it does this, and it does that, and here's why it's a market, and this book like this sold 2 million copies yesterday, and USA Today just did an article on used cars, and my book's on how to get the best used car, and this is what you're watching for. When that complete amateur, I'm just going out on a picnic, oh, I just thought I'd walk through, suddenly the voice changes. That's what you're looking for. And he goes, oh, yeah, you know, I'm just, yeah, whatever, oh, that's fine, that's it. And then suddenly they do that slow pause. Well, I know someone I might be able to get to. Oh, your book sounds interesting. Could you perhaps forward me something? The voice goes from casual, hey, like us, to business. Everybody knows your office voice. All of you have an office voice, right? And you get on the phone, and it's a bank. You're not talking to a family member. You use that different, oh, yes, no, my loan is definitely, that's the voice. They're going to go to these book shows dressed like casual civilians. They're not civilians. They are publishers. They are writers of publishers. They are the wife, husband, nephew, son, professor of a publisher, or someone who writes on book reviews. And they're trying to trick you. I don't know anything, and you think that they're stupid. And then you, oh yeah, my book, it's not going to sell that great, and I made this mistake, and it did that. And they're writing all this down. Okay, I am definitely not going to publish you or mention you to my friends, or write a book review. I was testing you out. And you failed. Unless you took me seriously as I was a CEO, even if I'm dressed in a pair of diapers and nothing else. That's what you do. One of those people is, or they're connected. And when their voice changed, that's when it's on. And that's when your voice changes and you start talking about business. And this is the last part. Know your stats. What genre are you writing? How much did that sell last year? What was the next big hit that came out last year? Did they make a movie on that? How much did that sell? Are they blogging about that? Are they talking about this in the newspapers? Was this covered in high school? Did the president say something on this? Oh, this topic is here. This book sold last year. There was a movie on Lincoln. The president mentioned X, and that's total. I said that 2 years before him. Oh, really? Voice changes, slam, statistics. I'll email you. That's how you get published. 3 times in a row. That's how I did it. I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to start talking about the book, and then I'll go to questions. So let me just pause there.